Hello and welcome everyone to this live demo session on SAP UI5 and Fiori training with me Anubhav on SAP Business Application Studio. In this live demo session, we are going to talk about the concept of working with our SAP UI5 application for the first time. We will discuss how to create your first web application, who is this training for, and how can this training help you in the future for your career growth. We will also talk about an outline of this training. What can you expect in the next 40 hours for this course? This is a live demo session with me, Anubhav. I have total 20 years of experience in industry, over 10 years of experience in SAP UI5, and I will be your trainer throughout this journey. I have worked over 35 plus implementation projects on Fiori, handling over 150 plus different kinds of Fiori applications. This training is designed for anyone who is willing to venture into the new technologies which are emerging in the market, including UI5 and Fiori. So let's get started and understand, first of all, the agenda for this demo. In our first section, I will explain you about who is this training for. Then we will look at an overview of this course. What can you expect in this course? We will discuss about our demo use case, and followed by that we will see some frequently asked questions and answers. Let's go ahead and now talk about who is this training for. So if you're working in industry as a UX designer like Danny Joy, currently designing the UX mockup, but willing to start real application development using the real tools, then this training is going to help you. If you're working like Vishal, who is a fresher out of college, have no experience in past and aspire to become a SAP full stack developer, this training is also going to help you. If you're working like Shania, who's a technical advocate working in industry with other UI technologies and want to become a SAP UI5 developer, this training is also going to help you. Finally, if you're working like Suhas Rane, who's an application developer as a EBAP consultant and want to venture into the new technologies for S4HANA and build beautiful Fiori application for their customers, this training is also designed for you. So any SAP consultant, be it BW, Portal, CRM, GUI, dialog programmer, ABAP developer, all of you can learn SAP UI5 and Fiori throughout this journey of this course. Let's talk about the overview of this training. What can you expect in next 40 hours? We will first start with the fundamentals. So you'll start learning core concepts including HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. We will learn about setting up our development tools, which is VS Code, as well as Business Application Studio. Some of you are already aware of little bit of UI5, already working in some project using Web IDE tool, which is now outdated. So going forward, we use the BAS and the VS Code tool only. In the second phase, we will start with SAP UI5, understand the UI5 framework and SDK, and build MVC architecture based applications. In the third phase, we will discuss Fiori user experience. We'll learn about how to develop Fiori applications using SAP mobile library with latest concepts of Fiori. Finally, you will see how to expose your real-time ERP data out of your system. You will create O data and services and expose our ERP data out to consume them in the front-end applications built using Fiori. You will understand the complete end-to-end process of design, development, testing, deployment, packaging, and transporting your application to the quality and production system throughout the journey of this training. Let's now talk about who is this course for. So if you are an absolute beginner or an ABAP developer who have never ever worked on UI5 and aspire to become and transform your dialog program or WebDinpro programs to a Fiori user experience, build beautiful Fiori apps, or extend standard Fiori applications, then this training is going to help you, because we will go till the deep level depth concepts of this training. So, what do you expect in our today's demo? In our today's demo session, we will first launch our development tool, which is called SAP Business Application Studio Development Tool. It's a tool provided by SAP to build amazing Fiori applications. This will be our step number one. Then in the second step, I will create a project, our first UI5 project in real time. That is what you will see as a second step of this today's class. Once the project is created, then the third step will be to test the project in the output. So we will basically run our project and show the data in the output in the browser. That will be our third step. Finally, we will just save our project and keep it in the development studio so that we can leverage the project for the future and enhance the project with additional details. So this will be throughout our journey. We will be learning about different things. Yes. So we will get started now creating our first project in so-called SAP Business Application Studio. So just as a developer, any one of you done any kind of development in the past, we use development tool. We will be using the bus development tool. But before we get started, let's talk about a quick introduction to what is SAP UI5. Let's discuss about that. So SAP UI5 is a framework to develop responsive web application. So what is a framework? A framework is nothing but it's a collection of libraries. What is a library? It's nothing but it's a collection of classes. What is a class? It's nothing but it's a collection of methods, attributes, events, and aggregation. This is what exactly the SAP UI5 is. So we are living in 21st century. The time is gone when we used to write every small part of application by ourselves. These days, we have lots of powerful frameworks available for us to build amazing applications. Hence, SAP introduced the framework like SAP UI5, which helps you and me to quickly design and develop applications using the predefined classes provided by SAP. There is another word called responsive. What do we mean by responsive? So, a responsive web application is a web application which adapt itself according to the device, be it mobile, tablet, or desktop. So, a responsive web application automatically adapt itself according to the device. So, if you are using mobile, tablet, or laptop, then this web application is going to adapt itself automatically accordingly. That's called responsive web application. Okay, responsive web application. So it adapts itself automatically. This is called responsive web application. So this is how exactly we have different components of an app. Now, coming to development process, how do you develop your application? So first of all, you will begin with the development tool. So we do have a development tool called BUS. This is how the development tool look like. You can see it's called Business Application Studio. Just like any other development tool which you have used like SEAT, on the left hand side you can create a project, and on the right hand side you can start writing your logic. Now, how did I get to this screen? How did I set up the BUS tool? This we will be covering in our next episode tomorrow. In our tomorrow session, I will show you how can you set up your own BUS tool for free. Apart from that, we will also learn setting up another development tool called VS Code as part of our local machine. So all of it will be covered as part of our training in tomorrow's session. For today's demo, I have already set up this tool for you so you can utilize the same. Now, in order to start, we first start by building a project. So I come to this development tool and create my first project UI5 demo. And now I will initialize my project. So let me also note down the steps to design the project. Steps to create first UI5 project. So step number one is to create a new folder, UI5 demo. Next, we need to initialize this project. And for that, we use a command called npm init command. npm init command is used to bring in all the necessary dependencies which are required to bring in into a project. But this will be not just a project, it will be a UI5 project. So in order to mark this project as a UI5 project, we need to add a file called webapp manifest.json file with the required properties. What are the properties? We need to give a unique ID of the application, and we need to also specify the application type. So these are the two properties you need to add in order to make this project a unique project and specify the UI5 framework, what type of project it is. Is it a application or a library or a component or a plugin? What are you building? So that when you want to run the project, SAP can run that accordingly. The third or the fourth step is we need to now mark this project as a SAP UI5 project. So it's just a project, but how to make it as a SAP UI5 project? So to be able to do that, we use a command UI5 init command. So let's go ahead and see this in action. So we come back, go to UI5 demo and now say npm init. We initialize our project, which will bring in all the required dependencies. And once this is done, you can see a file got created over here with the project properties. The next one is to create a web app folder. And under that web app folder, we add a file manifest.json. And under this file, we will add SAP app and we will provide a ID. So let me put the ID as Mickey. That's my favorite cartoon character. So for time being, we are just keeping Mickey Mouse as the ID of my project. Later on, I will show you how to create a productive ID for a project in your company. Next, we specify the type of the project and it is actually an application. So this is our basic property for creating a project. Cool. So now this is the basic skeleton of a project. Our next step is to initialize this project by writing UI5 init command. So I run UI5 init command. It says command not found. So we need to install the dependencies to run the command. So there is a dependency provided by SAP to use this command. It's called UI5 CLI. This is a dependency which we install so that we can use the UI5 init command. Yes. So it says UI5 init is not found. Still, okay, I think I need to open a new terminal now. Let me use a new terminal. We need to install this module globally also. I will explain you about these modules, how do we use these modules and everything as part of our training in details. So currently I'm just following a golden path to create our first project. But maybe in the future, when I go in the detail, each and every unit, you will understand these commands and you will understand the purpose of these commands in detail. So let's go to UI5 demo and UI5 init. And voila, this time it worked and it created a file which indicates what type of UI5 project is this. So it's an application, of course. Wow. So that is our basic skeleton of our first UI5 project. Please hold on. I will be giving you an opportunity to ask questions in case you have, technical and non-technical, towards the end of this demo. Next, we will create our launcher file. Launcher file means the first file which you need to execute in order to use the project. So let's go ahead and create a file, index.html, and now we will use HTML, header, body, HTML. So this is the basic skeleton of our HTML file. Now, our next step will be to go ahead and add the content inside the header and the body. So in the header, we will go ahead and add a tag for loading the UI5. So basically, we are planning to use the UI5 framework. But in order to use that, we need to load it. And to load a UI5 framework, we use a special tag provided by SAP called script tag. So we use script tag with the source https ui5.sap.com resources SAP UI core.js. Now we will say data SAP UI library. We want to load mobile library because, as I mentioned, UI5 is a collection of libraries. Yes. So we want to use the mobile library to build our first application. Apart from that, I also load a theme from the framework. Let me use SAP Fiori 3 dark theme. And I also specify where are all my files for this project. Resource roots. So basically we are now initializing our project. So here we are specifying the address and let me put here Mickey as the name for my current working directory. So this, as you know, in Windows or in any operating system, / indicates current working directory. So what's the current working directory of my index file? It is web app. So web app is our current working directory. So what am I telling the computer? That my current working directory from now on will be referenced as Mickey. Yeah, will be referenced as Mickey. So any file inside this web app will be represented and start with Mickey. Yeah, Mickey. So anything you want to reference, you will be referencing as Mickey. That is what we will be doing. So that is our script tag, what we have here. Yeah. So let us move on to the next step. Our next step will be to start creating the objects inside the web app folder. Now, one more thing you might wonder, Anubhav, how do you know about this line of code? Where did you get the reference for this code? So this code, by the way, is called bootstrapping code for SAP UI5. What is bootstrapping? Bootstrapping means initializing. You are initializing the framework which you want to use. It's an interview question also. So bootstrapping is a piece of code which is used to initialize the framework for our development when we start our application. That is what bootstrapping is all about. Now, how do I get reference of this code? I will explain you in unit number 11 when we will begin with introduction to UI5 SDK. SDK. Yeah. So for this demo session, you can just think about that I've got it from somewhere, but I have not, referenced it. So of course, in the coming episodes, later point of time when we go in detail, I will show you the purpose of this in detail. Yeah, that is what we will learn at later point of time. So this is our bootstrapping code. Okay, let's move on now to the next very important aspect where we will just learn about what are the important components of a UI5 application. So a UI5 application consists of multiple important components, which includes view and controller. So when you develop a project, you are not developing a college project. You're developing a real-time application. And as part of a real-time application, there are different components what you need to keep. So in SAP, we keep three important components: the model, the view, and the controller. It's called MVC. So the model, the view, and the controller. Okay. Model, view, and the controller. That is what we have. Yes. Three important component: model, view, and controller. Yes. So what is a view? A view is nothing but it is the screen what user will see. It is the input output. So our user will only see the view, the screen. So this is used for only input output. Now what user does? User interact with the view. User interact with the screen. And when user interact with the screen, it creates an event. What is an event? It's an outcome of an activity done by user. For example, click. User does a click on the button. That triggers a event. So we have a event getting triggered. Now based on that event, a event handler gets called, which is nothing but a function you will write inside the controller. What is controller? It is the place where we write all the processing logic. So view is nothing but input output. Controller is where we write processing logic. Now for this requirement, if you need the data or if you need to change the data, then controller will send a signal to the model to change the data. Yeah. So here it says change data. So it's a modify data. And once the data is modified, the modified data will be sent back to the controller for processing. Yes, to the controller for processing. That's what it does. That is what the flow will be when it comes to this. So it will revert back the data. It says notify the modified data back to the controller. So this is the complete flow: event handler, notify and modify. And finally, once the processing is complete, the data is sent back to the view like this. This is our complete flow of our execution: model, view, and controller. M, V, and C. So data is kept in the model. For simplicity today, I will not be creating any model, but we will learn about model in unit number 14, 15, and 16 in detail. Yes, for demo session, I will keep the model aside. I'll not keep any model today. I will only keep the view and the controller. Yeah. Now we also have a binding. We also have a binding concept. If a view want to exchange the data with the model directly, we do the data binding. It's a very important interview question also. And there are different types of bindings in UI5. We will be learning in unit number 17, 18, and 19 about the data bindings and binding types in SAP UI5. So this is the broad architecture to be used to build a application in our company. Fantastic. So let us go ahead and see this in action. Yes. Now I will just go ahead and create our first view and first controller. So the files needs to be created always under the web application directory. Here you need to create them. So let's create a view. Let's call it as main.view.xml. So this is the extension of the file. Yeah. This will tell the computer that what type of file is this. It's a view. So it's .view.xml. Yeah. That's what it is. Then we have also the main.controller.js. So this is the extension of the controller file to indicate that it's a controller. Yeah. So we have view and we have the controller. Now I'll go to the view and define my view structure. So view is actually itself a class, and this class is part of a library, and the library name is the core library. So SAP UI5, as I mentioned, it's a collection of libraries. So SAP UI5, it's a collection of libraries like mobile library, core library, and these libraries contains classes, and these classes contains attributes and methods. So what we will use is, now we use the view class. The view class is present in core library. Yeah. So what we have to do, we have to specify core library, the library name. So SAP UI core library has this view class. So kindly use a view. Yes, that is what we specify. So this is how exactly we can create a brand new view in the system. Perfect. So this is our view class which we are using. Now this view class also use a namespace for mobile library as a default. So any object which we put inside this view will be from mobile library. That's what we are telling to the computer. Also we specify the controller name, and we need to give the address of the controller. So you all know that we've told the framework that Mickey Mouse is the address of this web app directory. Yeah. So we have to say mickey.main.controller. So that is our controller address, mickey.main. That's my controller class address. I have to specify. Fantastic. So we create a view from the core library. View is also a class. We're defining that. We specify a namespace for mobile library, and we also use a controller name to address our controller. And now inside we will put a button. So button is a class. We will give the label for the button. Click me, and whenever the button is clicked, you say on click. That's my button. On click. That's my button. So this is how exactly we can create a button object. Button object. Now on click is the event handler for that button. So let's go to the controller class now and define the controller class. So in order to create any class of type JS, you see this is of type JS. So you need to specify a special syntax, just like in Java or C programming. You say class, class name. This is a syntax to create a class in ABAP or Java. Then similarly here we use a special syntax called SAP UI define. Yes, SAP UI define. This is the syntax to create a class. So let's create a class here and specify SAP UI core MVC controller. This is a standard class provided by SAP to create a controller class. Yes. So first of all, we define the skeleton, then we import this dependency, which is given by SAP to create a controller class. And now we will just go ahead and extend this to return a object of controller class. Now, if this syntax is overwhelming you, don't worry. We have 1 hour session only on these 5 lines. So that session number will be 10. Session number 10, we will spend 1 hour only on this line, only on these 6 lines that we will be covering. Okay, now we come back and we say Mickey dot main, and we will, this is the skeleton of a controller. This is the skeleton of a controller class in SAP UI5. So we mentioned our on click event handler. That is a function which you add it here, and you will say whenever user click what to do. I just say alert, welcome to Anubhav Trainings. That's a message I want to give, like a hello world program. I want to throw a alert pop-up. Alert is a function given by SAP to show a pop-up to the user. So that is it. We have got a view, we have got a controller, we have got a launcher file to start our application. So it's time to run our app, and to run our app we use a command over here. The command is called UI5 serve command. to start our application. And you can see it is starting now, and I can just open to launch our application, and it's not getting anything. Why? So whenever something goes wrong in case, then you can press F12 key on the keyboard and you can actually see what has gone wrong. So you can see here unexpected non-white space character in position. Yes. So there is something wrong in our code. So whatever we have written, there's something wrong. And I believe there is something wrong with ah SAP UI resource roots. This looks okay. Let me also put here a class name SAP UI body. So it seems like there is nothing wrong, guys. It is just a unexpected error which is coming. Let me just also cross check here. So we start from here. We say Mickey colon dot slash data resource roots. This is our starting file, and here it is just an error which is coming. Ideally it should work. Okay, so now we have a view, we have a controller, but we forgot to create object of the view. We define the view, but we have not yet created the object of our view. So let us also go back and create object of our view now. So I'm going to come here, write script, and create object of view class, view name Mickey dot main, and we need to specify the view type. It is XML view. So now we create an object of our view. So we created a view, we defined the view, but we forgotten to create object of the view. So now we're creating object of the view. Create the object of the view. And then we will place this view in the body. So we'll put here div content, and we'll place this in the body. Place and so basically what we are doing, we are creating a view object, which is then have the view, and placing this view inside the body of HTML. This is the body of our HTML. This is where we are placing our view inside, so that ultimately the view will be displayed to the user. That is the setup what we are doing. Yes. So this is our entire application code what we have created so far in the system. Makes sense. Makes sense. So now what we will be doing, we will be just going ahead and testing our view in the system, so that we will get our output accordingly. So let us go ahead and check again if we are able to load the output. So I will just go back to another tab, refresh, and no, it's not coming. So I need to also check again. You see there is SAP UI view is not a constructor. There is a unexpected token. Mickey is not a valid file. Okay. So the problem is here, guys. There's an issue here somewhere. Let's try to check. I think it's related to the codes. Yeah, this could be the issue. Resource roots. Let me come back, refresh the page. Syntax error unexpected. White space character at position 29. There is some special character which is causing this issue. Let me just check. So there is a white space character, it is telling data SAP UI theme in this file. So there's something wrong in the syntax what we created. It is unable to load the UI5 framework properly, guys, because of this, because of some code. UI5.sap.com SAP core.js. Data SAP UI5 resource roots. Let me put R capital. Is this the issue? There is something wrong in loading our code actually. Ideally, it should not happen. So we have the script tag and we are loading the UI5 framework, ui5.sap.com resources. It's loading the framework properly, I guess. That is the reason if you come back and check here the resources, you will find here this resources, SAP. Oh, you can see it didn't load the mobile library. So there is something wrong over here. Data SAP UI libs. So it didn't load the mobile library. It should have ideally loaded the mobile library. Let me just try to check this piece of code. And yeah, now it's loading. So you can see there is some problem with the other line of code. This one, data SAP UI resource roots. This line of code has some issue. That is the reason it is unable to, the moment I'm putting this line of code, it's unable to load the library properly. Yeah, so there's some issue here with this piece of code. I got you. I think we need to first specify the dot slash and then we need to specify Mickey. I guess that is the catch. Let's give it a try. So it's important to also see how to fix the issue. No, it's not working. There's something wrong here with the path which we are giving. So what I will do, I will just go back and tell the computer about the check the path. So what we will do is we will go to the documentation. It's called SAP or ui5.sap.com. That's where we have the documentation. And in the documentation, you will see the documentation for bootstrapping. And here is the documentation for bootstrapping. And you can see data SAP UI5 resource roots. This is the documentation. So now let me add that over here and I will say Mickey. There is, gotcha. So we missed the curly braces, guys. That was a problem. So in my code, I missed the curly braces. So the syntax includes curly braces and end of curly braces. This is the correct syntax which I missed. Okay, let's come back and try now. And voila, you can see it's loading now our library and it has got me the button also. And when I click the button, it says welcome to Anubhav Trainings. Fantastic. So this is how exactly we can create our first UI5 application. So what are the steps I have followed to do so? Let me summarize those steps. So first we created a new folder, our new project. Then we initialized the project as node. Then we added the file manifest. Then we initialize the UI5 init command to initialize the UI5 project. Then we created a view file and a controller file with basic skeleton. After we created the view and the controller file with the basic skeleton, our next step was to basically connect the view and controller. So add a button to the view and add the click logic inside the controller. That's what we have done as a next step. Now, after we added the controller logic inside the button, what was the next step? The next step was to actually go ahead and create the view object and place in the body and finally run the UI5 serve command to start the project and test the project. There was one small mistake I've done in the syntax for defining our root path. I missed the curly braces. Yes. So this is our entire steps to create our basic skeleton on our first UI5 project step by step. Now, maybe this demo session is overwhelming you because some of these commands and some of these things maybe you've never used in the past and it is quite new for you, and maybe it is causing confusion for you. Should be okay because you are seeing the UI5 for the first time. When we go in the detailed training, I'm going to talk about each and every syntax and each and every step in detail in the future. Okay, so let's come back and talk about some of the FAQs asked by you in the past. So first of all, what will be the duration of this training and what is the prerequisites? So the duration of this course is 40 hours and there are no prerequisite other than basic programming skills. If the timing doesn't suit me, can I go with video mode of training? Yes. So if the timing doesn't suit you, you can opt for the video mode of training for the most recently completed batch, and you can also ask your questions over the email. This also option applies also for those who want to fast track their learning and do not want to go with an existing batch slowly. So what tools do I need to learn and where do I get those tools? So we will build our application using BAS tool and VS Code tool. And in our next class, we will show you how to install these tools and how to get access of the BAS tool for free for a single developer. So this will be part of your training, how to set up these tools for yourself in the system. Anubhav, what about server access for OData? So yes, we need a real-time SAP server access to build OData services and consume these services as part of our training. So I will teach you in session number 29 how do you get a OData server access and also build OData services in real SAP system to expose your ERP data and then consume that in your tools and in your application. So this will be part of our training. We would not need the OData server right at the beginning because initially we will start with the mock data. Next, will you cover the real-time scenario as part of this course? Answer is yes. We will be covering end-to-end process of developing, designing, deploying, packaging, and delivering Fiori apps to production system. So this is a real-time end-to-end training. Everything what you need to know as part of building UI5 apps. I'm new to UI5. Can I learn? Yes. This course is designed in a way that even a college fresher can learn UI5 because we will be covering the basics, which includes HTML5, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. So all the basics will be part of this training we will be covering for you so you can easily learn the same. If I miss a class, how do I refer? So each class will be recorded and you will watch the recording once the class is done. So in case you missed or even not missed a class, you want to refer again, you can watch the video recording of the class after the session. Next, what is the process to enroll the course? So the final process is just email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com. That's the final process so that you can join the course. Having said that, thank you so much for taking your time today for this demo session. I hope you enjoyed the step-by-step approach, a no copy paste approach to build our first application today. Having said that, Anubhav signing out. It's time for your questions. In case you have, your lines are open. You can unmute your line and ask your questions regarding this training or any question you have, technical question. Please feel free to ask at this time. All is yours. Time for your questions, everyone. Any questions? Any questions before we wrap today's demo? You can also put your questions in the chat window.
Hi, Anubhav.
Hi Ravi. Hi Fahad.
Anubhav, my question is in part of this training, are you going to cover with the standard Fiori application and the extension of the standard Fiori application?
So extension of standard apps is not part of the current training. It will be covered in advanced Fiori training, which is a 60-hour course apart from this. So this one is basically the foundation course for developing apps from scratch. So here you will learn about component JS, views, controllers, bindings, data bindings, concepts of building the controls, control libraries, using them, and core concepts of UI5. So that is part of this training. But if you are willing to learn advanced concepts like extensions, then you can join our advanced Fiori training. But again, for that, this training is helpful because if you don't know what is manifest, what is controller, what is extension, then it will be hard for you to extend an app. So it's like learning first the alphabets, then learning words, and finally learning sentences. So we are here learning alphabets first. So first of all, you need to have in-depth knowledge of how a project skeleton is, how a project is created and managed. Once you know this, then you will go into the details.
Anubhav, one more question. Earlier that SAP we are using Web IDE. Now this is the VAS. So how is the other project is working for Web IDE? So if we are working this framework, how can we are going to handle that Web IDE tool existing framework?
Good question. So I will rephrase the question. So let's say you are already using Web IDE, and in Web IDE you have many projects. Now what happens is you have an existing project running on Web IDE. So now SAP discontinued Web IDE, what to do? So guys, we have the BAS tool and VS Code tool. You can migrate your project from Web IDE with one click to the BAS tool. That's possible. And once completing this training, you will be able to do that. So quite easily, you will be able to port your project from old tool to new tool. So it is not that you have to rewrite everything. It's just like you're either using SE38 or SE80 to write your ABAP code. The code doesn't change. The code remains the same. Yes.
Thank you, Anubhav.
Thank you. There's a question timing. So timing will be same morning 7 to 8 o'clock India time. Weekdays Monday to Friday. Those who are joining from Canada and US, for you it will be Sunday to Thursday evening timing. Yes. So
Hi Anubhav,
today's
Ranjit
a
this side.
yeah, once again Ranjit. So today's was a demo session. The recording is already on YouTube channel, but from tomorrow onwards, the recording will be uploaded in our portal. Once you subscribe the training by emailing us on contact@anubhavtrainings.com, you will be given a portal access. There you will be able to see everything. So this is the place where you can go ahead and join the course, and once you join you will get a subscription email with the link where you will find the recording of the classes. Yes, Ranjit, you can proceed with your question, please.
Hi Anubhav. So in case if you are opting for video mode, how long do we have the access for the videos, Anubhav?
8 months.
8 months, okay.
Yes, usually the
So
slowest
even for
student.
online,
uh
okay. Even online, I mean in-person batch will also have an access to videos, right? Or only
yes,
the video batches will have?
but
Okay,
in this case the difference is, in video mode training you will get all videos in one go. But in live mode training, the videos will come as and when we complete the class. So today we completed one
okay,
class, you'll get the video after that, the next day, and so on.
okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and Bob, so these videos, like live videos, will be there, right? Every day it will come one video. So for those also, do we have access for 8 months?
Yes.
Okay. And actually, let me tell what I want planning. So actually, I'm a Java developer. Now I want to change my technology. So to
Mhm.
start with, I am interested to go with SAP UI5. So for this one, to connect with this present one, so what are the technologies I need to learn apart from this SAP UI5 plus Fiori?
Nothing. I will cover everything in the course. So
Okay.
from your side, you don't need to learn anything. It is my
Mhm,
duty to make you ready
mhm.
from the scratch. So we will be needing HTML5, CSS, jQuery, JavaScript, DOM.
Okay.
All of this is part of the training. Even college freshers are attending this course.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. What I'm asking, like after this course, can I try for the job search, or I need to learn something extra? Like one
You can
person
start the
told
job search right
advanced.
after this course. This course will help
Mhm.
you to even double your salary in the current job
Mhm.
profile as well. So you can right
Mhm.
away start searching. If you are like want to switch a company, you can right away start searching for that.
Okay. Okay.
Satish
Yeah.
also
Thank
has
you,
a
Anubhav.
question. Thank you, sir. Satish also has question. My company is doing Greenfield S4HANA. They are into phase 0. My background is ABAP. They asked me to learn BTP. Will this course help me to do so? Yes. So BTP is a platform. On top of that platform, what will you build? You will ultimately build a UI5 application, right? So
Yeah,
that is what
yeah.
this course is all about. So of course, on the platform, you can build variety of application like hybrid application, CAP application, RAP
Mhm.
application, Fiori application, mobile application, MDK application, low code, no code application, HANA XSE application. Yes, different variety of application you can build on top of this platform. It's a platform. So when they say BTP, it doesn't mean that what will you learn there. So the first phase itself is UI5 application. So with this training, you will learn how to build UI5 applications and deploy them on either BTP or on your company system. So BTP, generically speaking, BTP, it doesn't make sense. So the first phase itself is building Fiori application on top of BTP. In fact, the bars tool which I showed you today is running on top of
Mhm.
BTP. So that will cover in
Oh,
the next class tomorrow.
thank you.
Is it useful to develop add-ons in business one? If you're using SAP B1 business one, yes, the UI5 will also help you to build applications on top of business one layer as well. This is also possible. All right. So that is the end of this demo. I hope you enjoyed the demo class. I'll hope to see you in the next session. Actual training is going to start today. Today was the first session, technically speaking. Tomorrow is the next session, same time, 7 to 8 o'clock. So I would request you to kindly complete your sign up as soon as possible with my team by sending an email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com so that you will not miss out tomorrow's class. The link of tomorrow's class will be shared with you once you subscribe the course. We will give you a blog access, private blog access, where you will find the recording, the link and everything to connect and join the class. Thanks everyone. Catch you up in the next episode. Goodbye.